give you a little bit of background on myself. This whole mindfulness thing that I do now was very unexpected to me. My background was I was a lawyer, and I have always been an overachiever and a driver and go, go, go. And there was this moment where I had worked really hard to get into one of the biggest law firms in Canada, and I got this job that I thought was going to bring me so much happiness. And then I looked out the window in this big office downtown, probably the biggest I'll ever have. And then I said, what next? And I realized that my whole life I was looking for something outside of myself that was going to bring me happiness and make me feel optimistic. And I traveled all over the world, and always looking for the perfect relationship, the perfect job, the perfect experience, and eventually realized that nothing was really cutting it. And so I experienced deep depression. So I would also like to speak to those of you who might not be feeling the optimism today, and if you are feeling down and you're feeling like the world is heavy, and I notice people talking about toxic culture and that you're trying, and it's just like, it's hard, it's hard to just get out of bed and put one foot in front of the other. I feel like my work in the world is to connect with these people and let you know that there is a way out. As Brian said, we're never alone. It can feel that way though. And it felt that way for me. And I reached out to my sister. She meditated, which I thought was so weird, because how is she sitting there doing nothing? There's so much to do. We have to go out and we have to save the world, or we have to, work out or something. I was always such an action oriented, and I still am, very action oriented, but I really kind of ran out of options. So she recommended a book called Wherever You Go, There You Are by John Kabat-Zinn. And just the title alone to me was so telling, because, I thought, here I am, I've gone to all these places, I've done all these things, but really everywhere I go, I find myself. And if I'm not able to know who I am, what I need, what I value, there's really no place, no person, no experience that's going to get me there. So it started, this is about 12 years ago, this work of changing my lens on the world. Rather than going out and expecting things outside to bring me happiness, I had to look in, and it wasn't always easy. There was a lot of stuff in there that I wasn't really so comfortable with. I always say I never thought I was an angry person until I started meditating and starting to notice, the rage, the anger, the frustration, the sadness. And for me, it's really been a path of opening up to all these experiences and then navigating my way. And one more quote from John Kabat-Zinn that really spoke to me at that time is that you are more than just your thoughts. So my thoughts, and even to this day, after 12 years of daily mindfulness practice, my thoughts can really get me into a dark place. And it's really that learning that skill of being able to zoom out and notice, here is my thinking mind. Here are my sensations in my body, what's happening in my body, and what's happening in the environment, and being able to be aware of those things, that has helped me shift the thinking. And it's a constant work. It's not easy. It's not easy, but I've really found it's the only way, because if we are expecting certainty, we talked about uncertainty, it's just not coming, and it's not coming. And I think many of, the leaders are really trying their best, but it's not always great. And so what we're really stuck with is our own experience. How do we have self-compassion, starting with yourself, learning to manage the thinking mind, and then doing what we're doing here, which is connecting with like-minded people, where we can start moving forward in a way that makes sense, connecting with the values that we most adhere to, and almost like being the light. It's a dark time, but we all need to first kindle the light within ourselves, and then, like a candle, join with others, so we can start to create more and more light and space in our families, in our workplaces, and in our world. And I know because we're public servants, really that drives us, right? That sense of being able to be helpful to others. And that's what can also get us out of our dark place, is to move towards what do I have to offer. And at first it might seem like maybe you don't, but when you start with yourself and just breathing and being appreciative of, you know, your own body, your mind, this experience, this life that we have, it starts to kindle. It can be really small at first, but it really grows and grows, and I've found it so miraculous. So it's really my pleasure to share it with you.